Hello, I'm here. I see monkeys here. I am waiting for Character Creator to start up. I don't know why it's taking so long, but hopefully it'll start up here in a sec. It's saying, please wait. So we're just gonna continue to give it a second. Hopefully it decides to start. I don't know, sometimes when I'm doing these live streams, and I suppose I could maybe, hold on, let me turn off Instagram. Might lighten the load here just a little bit. Okay. But yeah, Character Creator. I have really found that, hold on, my camera's not very straight here. I have really found that, I've struggled to find, like, a ton of community support for this program. I don't know, like, when you got it, but I started using it, like, maybe 8 months ago or so, and, like, if I ever have a problem, I feel like I have to just kind of, like, click around or, like, go, like, deep into the community forums to, like, find any answers. So I kind of want to, like, now that I'm kind of set up for recording, do maybe, like, a couple of, like, explainer videos of, like, my own, like, workflow, just because I feel like that would be kind of neat. Kind of make the thing that I wish I'd had when I got started using this program. I don't know, like, how many people use it. It seems like it's a cool program, but I don't know, like, how many users it generally has. Okay. It has finally decided to start, so let me switch over here. Okay. So, hello? Okay. So when I get started, what I do is, sometimes when I am starting a new character, I will just import a mesh that I already have and I'll work from that. But a lot of times lately, I have found that I just will start in Character Creator and make a base mesh that is, like, exactly what I want by using the sliders here, because I feel like if I start with a base that's already, like, super muscular, super skinny, then, like, I find that it's faster for me to do it in Character Creator than to, like, sculpt all of it on in Zbrush. So I will start with doing one of the, like, base actors in here. I'll usually do, like, either just, like, the base man or the base woman one, or the base, like, male and female. So I'll drag that on, and then I just start, like, messing around with the sliders. It's taking a sec here. And yeah, I can show you a little bit of those two, like, packs that I downloaded too. The ones for the fantasy races, I like because they also came with their own, like, base meshes, not just the sliders. So if I want, I can drag, like, just a dwarf onto the screen, and then I can do the regular sliders from there. I found that doing, like, a base character plus the sliders to, like, turn a base character into a dwarf ends up looking a little funky. So having, like, the base mesh there is nice. But let me just get this loaded in, and then I'll put her in the symmetrical pose. So I'll load her in. I'll do the A pose. And then I'll go over here. I'm sure you already know where the morphs is, but the morphs is over here in the like modify panel. And then, you know, you can mess around with all these sliders. For the face, I probably get a little fussier than is absolutely necessary, just because I always feel like I have a vision, and I like, so I get a little fussy, but I won't mess around with it too much here. These Reaper morphs here underneath the body sliders are, I've only loaded in the gnome ones for now, but you can see like I can use the sliders and it like turns into a little gnome character. And like, do you see what I mean? Kind of how like when I use the base, like the regular person base, like it looks super cartoony because it's working off of what was already there. Same with the male one. It's just like, it looks super cartoony, whereas I know I'm getting distracted here. But I really do like this pack. Let's see. I'm trying to find... Is it Reaper? I don't remember where they got put, honestly. Purchased items, maybe? No. That is one other complaint I have about this program, is it can kind of hard to, like, the menus are not super intuitive. Oh, here we go. Reaper projects, is that it? Yeah. Okay. So like the one that I just did as opposed to like the base guy. And of course this is going to take a minute to load in. But yeah, I really like this one. I really like this download. It has kind of saved me a lot of time, because before I was just like cranking all of the like height sliders all the way down, and you would just get this like really weirdly proportioned thing that you would have to go back in Zbrush and like fix. So for like non like human proportioned characters, it was just like not really worth it to do it in Character Creator. But like, yeah, you can see like this looks good. So that's kind of what this guy looks like. But I'm gonna go back, and they have like dwarf, they have half dwarf, half elves. Shout out to my Legolas Gimli shippers. Elf, gnome, Goliath, and halfling ones. So anyways, I like that. That's kind of what that pack looks like, but I'm gonna load back in the default lady. Okay. But yeah, the two things that, or there's three things that are like non-negotiables that I do when I make a character, or when I'm like making a base mesh in Character Creator. The first one is to up the size of the hands. So I'll just do hand scale. You can kind of push it pretty far without it starting to look weird, I feel. So that's up to like 20. And I feel like they are much bigger, but they don't look weird. So that is one thing. And then I will also, and I'll usually like do the like finger thickness sliders I'll like crank those up a little bit as well, just because like, you know, hands when you 3D print them can be so fragile. So just like, you know, preempting that difficulty as much as possible. Like again, I've really cranked these sliders up, and like you don't think like, oh, the hands look weird. At least I don't think that. And then another thing that I'll do is I will go into the arm slider, and I will go down here to wrist scale, and counterintuitively, to get the wrist to be thicker, you have to slide the slider down. But this is just another thing that like is gonna beef up. I'll like zoom in on it a little bit more, but it's just gonna like beef up the arms so that they are less thin already. So like this is the base. Get it to 0 here. And then this is with it thickened up. So those are the 2 slider things that I'll do before I export the base mesh as like a low poly OBJ. The last thing that I'll do is I will go into motion and do edit pose. And you have to turn on symmetry. So down here, this little one with the 2 arrows going either direction. And I will take the hands and just spread out the fingers. So just like grab this, grab the little like top of the hand part so it turns green, and just drag it up. So that spreads out all the fingers at once, and then I'll go in and separate the main fingers from one another. What I have found that this does is when you are bringing the model back into Character Creator, having the fingers already splayed out from one another really helps when you're really helps Accurig get these little finger joint markers for the skeleton in the right place. Before, when I was just doing the base hand, all the fingers were like kind of in a paddle together, and it was like really struggling. I was like spending a lot more time like sorting out those little skeleton parts. But if you just like spend this little minute here rotating them so that they are splayed out, it saves so much time down the road. So that's the other thing that I'll do before I export. There's one other thing I was gonna say. What was it? Oh, and then you can also, so when you like bring, after you've like done all your sculpting and everything in ZBrush, and you bring the model back in to pose it, there is a plugin for Character Creator. Yeah, that's something, 100% something that I'm hitting a wall on. Hands always getting wonky and moving back. Yeah, exactly. And like this still is not going to be perfect. Like you're always going to have to like mess with the hands a little bit when you get back into ZBrush. But this is something that I found that is like a nice little setting yourself up for success just a little bit more. What was I just... Oh, yeah. So there is an add-on that you can get for Character Creator. It's called... It's the one for facial animation, for like facial rigging. And when I first bought this program, I was looking at it and I was like, oh, great, I'll get that one too. And it's like thousands of dollars. It's like $5,000. I don't know if it's that much, but it's stupid expensive. I'm not going to spend that much money on it. So the other thing that I will do is, while I still have this like base model in and the face sliders are still active, I will, if I know that I'm going to want some sort of like facial expression on my model, I'll also do this edit facial. Before I export. And this is like if I want to just do like a little eyebrow cock and a smirk or something, like that's easy enough to do in ZBrush. But if I want, also got to remember to turn on another complaint I have about Character Creator is the symbol, like the symbols on the different buttons are different between the different menus. So like on the other menu, for the edit pose menu, the symbol was that square with the two arrows, and on this one for mirror selection, it's just these two triangles. I digress. But if I want to do like an open mouth expression, for example, I can just go in here and like select it. I have found that these facial expressions often look kind of ghoulish. So I will then go into the muscle ones and tone them down just a little bit. But it is a nice way to, get the pose on the model without having to do like a ton of resculpting in ZBrush. The other thing is, because I've found in ZBrush, one of the things that like can annoy me is when you have a model, like getting the lips separated nicely is like a huge pain, and you always have to resculpt the lips. So if you bring it in already, you like, I know I want to do an open mouth smile or like snarl or something. Like if you know that from the get-go, having like a little bit of a facial expression thrown on the model when you bring it into ZBrush is like a huge time saver, I have found. And yeah, so that is what my workflow generally is when I'm like prepping a model for like a new base mesh. That is creepy. Yeah, the Character Creator expressions always need a little bit of messing with, but at the very least, it's a better starting point, is what I have found. So yeah, that is what I'll do before I get into ZBrush, is make the hands bigger, make the wrists thicker, repose the fingers, and if I want to put a facial expression on it. So now I'll also show you what I will do when I'm prepping a model to go from ZBrush through the Zbrush Posetools plugin. To get this model out of Character Creator, I'll just do File, Export. You probably know this, but just for the sake of posterity, I'll do File, Export, OBJ, Character with current pose, because that will set it with the facial expression and the A pose. Leave all that. And then I'll just do like example fem. Okay. And then in ZBrush, let me just get it started up here. So let me just like open up a project. just like a random one. I'll do this guy maybe, because I think I made this one before I got Posetools. Do I still have him? Yeah, okay. So a few things that I have found are important to do, and I don't know how much of this like you have figured out on your own, but I really had to struggle to like figure out some of this stuff, so I'm just gonna go through it here. When I'm getting ready to go from ZBrush to back into Character Creator for posing, I'll first go through and rename everything. So I do this as body, I do this as helmet, just so it's super clear when I get back into Character Creator. Do this like skirt, what everything is. Character Creator does not like it when you have special characters or underscores in the name of your subtools. So I will go through and do that. Now, the thing that really threw me when I was first starting using this was that for hard surface, or for any subtool that has like a separate left and right side, hold on, collar, handle. Okay. For any subtool that has a separate left and right side, you have to separate the left and the right, so that they can move independently of one another when you're posing. So that is the other thing that I will do. I don't know why it did this. Oh, it's probably because I had something hidden. So rename this boot right, boot left. I'll probably do something similar for the shoulder armor, honestly. I would probably separate the left one from the right one. And then keep this as its own subtool, because you do want the left and right shoulder pads to move independently of one another. And I don't want this to get super deformed. These like chains. So I would rename this shoulder pad. I know that that's not what these armor things are named, but whatever, it doesn't actually matter. No one's gonna police it. Oh, I just see her. Sorry about that. Oh my gosh. We should start over. Sculpting. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me kind of backtrack a little bit here. So I've got this guy. Okay, so we're back in ZBrush. And what I will do when I'm like getting ready to go into Character Creator is first I'll go through and I will rename all of the subtools. Yeah, great. I'll go through and I'll rename all the subtools so that everything is like easy to tell what it is when it's like in Character Creator. And then I'll separate the left sides and the right sides from stuff. Anything I don't want to get deformed, I will kind of make its own thing. So left shoulder armor, right, and then I'll make this the like, oh, this is the belt. Where's the little necklace thing? Yeah. So yeah, I've done that with the boots. I've done it with the pauldrons. I'll do it with the, like, I don't know, gauntlet things. I know there's a difference between like gauntlets and bracers. I think these are bracers because they don't cover the hand. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Okay. So that's the first thing I'll do. And then the other big problem that I've run up against, and I don't know if you've ever had this problem, Monkey, but I've had this issue at one point where I would be transferring, I would get everything in Zbrush or in Character Creator. I would get all the posing done, and then I would go to transfer it back to Zbrush, and not all of the subtools would have their pose transferred. It was driving me absolutely crazy. I spent hours trying to figure out what in the hell was going on. And maybe I'm the only person who's ever had this problem. I don't know. But it turns out that there is a cache for the GOZ plugin, and once it fills up, it will just start to overwrite things. But if it comes across a subtool that has the same name as something that's already in there, it will not overwrite it. So every time I pose a character, I am gonna have a subtool that's called body, a subtool that's called boot left, eyeballs, teeth. And so if there's a subtool in that cache that's already overwritten, or that's already like has the same name, it won't get overwritten, and that subtool is not going to have its pose transferred. So what you have to do to preempt this, and now I'll do it every time before I even get into Character Creator, is I will go into Preferences, I think this is it, GOZ, Clear Cache Files. And that will empty out that cache folder. Hit OK. And now all of your subtools will get transferred every time. This is one of the ones that I had to really dig deep into the forums to figure out what was going on. It drove me crazy, but that is how you fix it. And yeah, that's pretty much all the prep I do. For everything else is really covered in the, oh my god, right? I was so pleased with myself when I figured it out, but that's how you do it. That's how you fix that problem. I'm glad I'm not the only one who has had that issue. And yeah, I feel like I can like die happy now knowing that I have helped one other person with that problem. Okay. Yeah, that is insane. I bet that is why some of my stuff doesn't. It is, I'm sure it is. If the next time you run up against that problem, please tell me if this fixed it for you, because it drove me absolutely insane. Yeah, everything else I think is pretty much you can find in the tutorials. But yeah, you just go, all subtools to low over here in the subtool palette, and then resize. I feel like these like resize scales are kind of arbitrary. I haven't really been able to figure out if that's the case, but I've never run into a problem with it. But all the tutorials say you have to resize, so that's what I will do. I don't know. I made this model a long time ago, so I don't actually know if it's low poly enough for Character Creator, but it doesn't super matter. Because I think pretty much everything else in my workflow is pretty straightforward after this point. I don't know if you have any other like things, like problems that you have consistently that you want to like group think on. Because I feel like I'm at a point with this workflow where I am not running up against issues super often. So maybe that means, I don't know, if you have any like issues that you're finding, I might have the answer. Let me go back into Character Creator and like click around here. I'll hide the accessories for a sec. Visible. Okay, export visible. Sometimes if I pull a model in that I start in ZBrush, it imports off center. I have not had that problem. So I'm not sure about that one. Like it imports off center in, sometimes if I pull a model in that I start in ZBrush, it imports off center. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had that problem before. That's a new one. Also just making some accessories not warp super wonky. Oh, yeah. Okay, I can answer that one for you. So, when you import into Character Creator, okay, let me switch over my view before I get too ahead of myself here. Character Creator, okay. Okay, so we're gonna update all of our stuff to bring it in. Yeah, it pulls in under the floor and its right hand is where the center. So I pretty much always have it where once I do AccuRig, it will move the entire, it'll shift the entire model up, but it still stays on like the, it still stays like centered. It just gets moved, it just gets shifted up. So I'm not sure about the symmetry issue. That is one I've not come across. Yeah, I'm super curious about that. I don't know. Pulls in under the floor and its right hand is where center should be. Yeah, the only thing I could think off the top of my head is it could be like a masking issue. Like, I don't know, maybe if something is masked when you pull it into Character Creator. I'm not sure about that one. This one I know for sure is going to get mad when I try to AccuRig it because it will, it's probably just got too many polys. Yeah. But, oh yeah, look at that. I was just talking about how I've not had this problem before, and then we yeeted it into existence. Okay, let me try this again. Maybe if I start with a new... No. Maybe if I start with a new project. Yeah, my gut reaction to that would be just to like restart Character Creator and ZBrush and clear the cache and just try it again. Then when you try to AccuRig it when it's off center, it gets weird. Like everything turns into spaghetti. Yeah, I have had one time where I was bringing the model back into ZBrush and it just turned into this like crazy, like, it looked like it had like exploded. That is part of what it does. It's just off center. Yeah, that's weird. I'm gonna see if just starting with a new project fixes it. Okay, that fixed it. I don't know what happened before. Maybe it got mad that I had used sliders or something. I don't know. That was weird. I've not seen that before. Okay, so for this, the program differentiates between hard surface and soft surface subtools. So when you're doing AccuRig, you need to make sure that you're only working with the things that you are fine with them getting deformed. So I'll show you what I mean. So for this, I will hide everything except the body. And then I will go in and get AccuRig going. Hi, I'm just gonna lurk and let you guys work. Just wanted to say hello. Hello. Happy to have you here. We're just doing some little troubleshooting teamwork here. Poly count, yeah, it's mad that it's too high poly, but going to go all the way through AccuRig with this, so it should be okay. Okay, so actually well, no, it's fine. So we'll do selected meshes so that it's just the body that it has to do math on to create the guides. It's gonna place the joints, do its whole deal. And this guy's gonna have hands that are all spaghetti because it's like my old base mesh that I used to use before I got Character Creator, so it's just gonna kind of be a little bit of a mushy mess, but it doesn't matter. Okay, generate skeleton. I'm just gonna leave it with whatever it comes up with at the beginning. While it does this, actually, I'm feeling a bit parched. I'm gonna go grab my water. I will be right back. Okay. Oh, perfect timing. Go me. Okay. So now is the point where you tell Character Creator what you do and don't want to get deformed. So before I hit bind skin here, I'm going to select only the things that I want to say, yes, do move these with the body, which for this, I don't think is going to actually be that many subtools. So obviously the body, the bracers are both metal, so I'll leave those. The skirt is cloth. The teeth are going to stay because they won't move. They'll just move with the head. The belt, it's metal, but it can get kind of weird if you don't let the belt move with the hips. So I'll have that. The shoulder armor things are both metal, so I'll leave those. The necklace thing, sure, just for the sake of the boots, I'll have both of those. Headwear can stay, the mask can stay, and the collar can stay. Okay, so I'm just going to select these things. I'm hitting Control and selecting multiple to just select these things that I've made visible. And once those are selected, that is what I will do bind skin on. And this might take a few minutes because, like I said, the model is pretty high poly for what Character Creator usually likes to contend with. Yeah, and once we're done with this, like, live stream, I'm definitely gonna keep the VOD of this up, because then you guys can come back to it whenever, yeah. Unlocking the mysteries of Character Creator, one step at a time. Yeah, I really wish that this program had better community support. I would even kill for like a Character Creator for subreddit would be great. There's one, I think, for whatever this company, Realusion, whatever it's called. I think that one has a subreddit. But they mostly, I have found, are posting about, like, iClone, and, like, some of their other ones. Did I miss out on your mini painting thing you were talking about doing? I truly have not painted a mini in a hot minute. I got kind of burnt out on painting in December because I was, like, frantically trying to get all the models for my last Kickstarter painted so that I could, like, take cute little pictures of them. And so I have just, like, not really painted anything in a while. So no, you did not miss the painting stream. And there will be painting streams, plural, to come. And I'll do them all on this channel. So, like, you'll, you know, if you're following or subscribed or whatever, like, you'll get a notification when I do that. Yeah, I'm excited for those. I think they're gonna kind of be a vibe, but I just have not gotten around to it. I've kind of been doing a lot of, like, laying a base. This month I have not been, like, posting on social media that much. I'm just trying to get stuff set up for launching Patreon in a few months. So once that gets set up, I'll definitely be doing more painting live streams. This is taking forever. But this is how you fix Monkey. This is how you fix that deformation problem. So everything that you set to bind skin is what will get deformed, and everything else will get assigned a part of the skeleton. So usually, and it's pretty good at picking that. So, like, the headwear the headwear and the mask and the eyes and teeth and everything will all get assigned to the head. The, like, collar thing will get assigned to, like, the one that's kind of at the base of, like, in between the collarbones. Each of the pauldrons will get attached to the shoulders. So everything when you do the pose will still move with the model correctly, but they won't get deformed. And that should solve that issue, hopefully. Yeah. Because, yeah, the more you can do in Character Creator, the better. Especially because when you get back into ZBrush, in order to like mess with anything, you have to like hit bake all before you do anything, and like that really limits your ability. I have found like the messing with the layers once for like multiple tools once you get back into ZBrush to also be kind of a tedious thing. Corey D, thank you for subscribing. I'm happy to have new friends, new art friends. But yeah, hopefully that should fix that issue. I wish Character Creator was like getting a move on here. I wonder if I could go back into ZBrush and make this model a little bit lower poly here so we can actually see what's going on. I'll get rid of the more high poly things. This one's not too bad. This one's super high poly. I'm just gonna delete it. This one is not too bad. These ones are stupid. This thing's not too bad. The bracers are fine. The helmet's fine. Okay, it was mostly those two things. Yesterday. Yeah, those cards that you showed on Mia's Discord yesterday are awesome. I will absolutely be backing that project whenever you end up launching it. Oh, we have some movement here. Maybe it's gonna do the thing. It always does this when you have I truly was, when I first got this program, I was like, it says there's a limit, but like it should be fine. And then I got to the first model where it was like even, I think it says the limit that it really wants to contend with is like 600k, and I brought in a model that was like 800k, and it was like still and it was like no, don't do this. So I kind of learned my lesson that way. Already launched, funded, and about to distribute. Lol, damn, I missed it. Are you gonna like post them for sale? Dang, I missed it. Are you gonna post them for sale anywhere? Because I would love to get some. Not sure I'll ever do minis per se. I just kind of want to sculpt and create creatures and monsters and stuff. Do you, Corey D Gaming, do you have a 3D printer? Because yeah, just sculpting and making stuff. Even if you just want to do like, even if you just want to make like character art with them. Okay, yeah. Well, whenever you do that, drop a link and I will scoop some up. Yeah, that's kind of the next thing I want to get into is like digital, what do they call them? Like the digital character tokens for like Roll20. I would really like to get into doing some of that, making like art with the models that I make, but I will have to buy and then learn how to use Photoshop. That all seems super complicated. Yeah, look, I have such a love-hate relationship with all of my 3D printers. I have in my possession 4. I consistently use 2, and one of them is just like thoroughly out of commission. But yeah, I mean, I love them because they're great and they are capable of such great things. but when they're not working, I hate them. They're just called tokens. Great. I overcomplicating it. Yes, tokens. I can show you my workflow when you do that. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would love that. I know absolutely nothing about Photoshop. I have not even dipped my toe in to that whole thing ever, but it just seems like a cool skill set to have. It's pretty easy. You probably already know 3/4 of it. Oh, great. I love your faith in me. That's very nice of you. Yeah, I've never, like, before I started sculpting, I never did really any sort of art at all. I was very much like a science person. And so, yeah, ZBrush was the first, like, fully, like, fancy art tool that I ever used. Okay, so it finished, which I'm excited for. I was kind of half expecting it to crash. So now we can do a little check animation. Throw a little, like, walking pose on it. One thing that's really funny to me is, like, the gender stuff that is built into Character Creator, like, just a little diversion, but, like, all of the, like, built-in animations that they have for, like, male and female. The male, like, perform ones are all, like, sitting, saloon door, hold gun, and all of the human female ones are underperform are like dance, catwalk, dual guns, and they're all like these just like sexy little walks. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. That's just a little funny thing. Anyways, okay. So yeah, you can kind of see like the animation. So everything on here is getting deformed. Like the things on the chest are not getting deformed a ton, but you can see how like they're moving as the person walks. But then if I unhide all of these other pieces, and I turn on the animation, you can see how they are on the correct parts of the model, but they're not getting deformed. And you can probably see it a little better if I put on more of a more of an exciting pose. So, but that's all that I do in Accurig, so you can go out of that, and then if we drag, oh, come on, please don't crash. Please don't crash. I would really love it if you didn't crash. Like most of what I do is in ZBrush, I just make renders into Photoshop to blend the matte caps. Yeah, that is exactly what I would love to learn how to do. Okay, so basically don't bind those to skin. Yeah, I usually just import everything and just click OK. Yeah, so you gotta like separate them out and then they won't get deformed. Let's do another little animation here. Hello? Where are all my poses? Why is it just this one? Oh, item. Please don't crash. Please stop this. Yeah, and like that's where honestly just like naming stuff well kind of comes into play. Okay, here we go. We'll do perform. We'll just drag this one onto here. So yeah, you can see like as the like arms are moving, the like gauntlets are not getting deformed. They're just moving along with them. Yeah, that was also something that was not covered. Okay, this shot is kind of a mood. That was definitely something that was not covered in any of the tutorials. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, but let me know if you want me to go over anything else, like if there's any other issues you run into. Corey says, I've been on and off situation with sculpting in ZBrush, got into sculpting way back in high school, but never did much with it, and then ZBrush came out and I got it, but I haven't done it much, honestly, so I'm still pretty new to it, all things considered. Mess around with it for a week or two, then take like, yeah, that's fair. Like when it's like a hobby thing, you know, it's like you know, when I have an idea for it, I'll get really excited and I'll use it, but other than that, it just kind of like sits idle, which honestly mood. Yeah, those are all my character creator tips. Yeah, this is a funny little program. It's got, like, when it works really well, and it's really slick, and it helps you make poses that are like really dynamic, and when it doesn't work, it's absolutely maddening. And I wish that there was one document somewhere that had all of the hotkeys in it, but as far as I've been able to find, there is not. Do you usually do low poly, then finish sculpting in ZBrush after, or do you sculpt first, then bring in the lower subdivision? I sculpt first and then bring in the lower subdivision. I tend to work in subdivisions anyways, so it's not super hard generally for me to keep things pretty low poly. And yeah, because of that little quirk where you have to, once you bring in the pose, you have to like bake all the layers, which I find kind of tedious. I've basically decided that like the more finished I can get the model before I pose it, the happier I'm gonna be when I bring the like after I've posed. So yeah, I usually get pretty high poly before I pose, and then I'll just bring in the lowest subdivision levels. I tend to use a lot more Dynamesh than Divide, so I've never really... Yeah, so I do that as well. What I really like to do, and I can show you if you want, this is something that Mia definitely has a video on for her like mentorship course, but I can show you the workflow if you want. But I will often, when I'm getting ready to go into Character Creator, do the like make a copy, Z remesh, and then subdivide and project details, so that I can get those subdivisions back without losing the detail. I tend to find that is the answer to that particular issue, which like it does take a little bit more time, but like again, you're either spending the time in ZBrush doing that, or you're spending the time in Character Creator waiting for it to do the math on something that's really high poly. And I found that spending the time on it in ZBrush is going to be less time than spending time on it in Character Creator. So yeah, that's kind of how I keep things low poly in that regard. Cause yeah, when I first got this program and I saw how low poly things had to be when you bring it in, I was like, oh, is this going to be a problem? But like, it's not really, it didn't turn out to be much of an issue for the way I personally do things. Yeah, that's Character Creator. Yeah. Yeah, but this was fun. Honestly, I feel like I can rest easier in my life now, having imparted this knowledge to someone else. Because it's not out there and I feel a little greedy keeping it all to myself. So, this is good. Well, yeah. Look, all we can do is laugh sometimes in this life. Yeah, I wasn't planning on doing any sculpting today, really. The app is awesome. Like, yeah, it really helps so much. And, like, I love that there's that, like, marketplace of, like, the pre-made animations that you could just buy for, like, a couple bucks and then bring in. Like, I found that to be such a time saver. And, like, the amount of, like, this like dynamic range, and I love how much you can like push the poses so easily with like the just the like rotation. Like, I love all of that. It's so much less fiddly, but you do have to like set yourself up for success from the beginning. I hate posing in ZBrush, and it's so much. Yeah, it truly. I hate Transpose Master. It's so tedious. Like, every time you want to move a finger, it just is such a pain, and you have to polygroup everything. Like, you still have to like do a fair amount of prep for if you want to be successful in Transpose Master. It's just like kind of different. You have to like polygroup everything and make sure that you know, the arms and the fingers and the legs are all different polygroups, and like it's just so much like clicking and masking, and it's just very tedious. And I do like this better, and I think my poses do look better when I use Character Creator. It's just a quirky little program, and no one wants to tell you how to use it. But yeah, that's that. Thanks for hanging out. I'm not gonna do any sculpting today because I have another little project that I'm working on. I recently got signed up for the Lychee Ambassadors program. So I'm gonna have a bunch of models in their like built-in library. So I gotta get those all organized and sent off to Lychee. So that's kind of exciting and fun, but I think it's going to be a little bit of a tedious project. So yeah, of course. Thanks for hanging out. This was a fun little hang. Yeah, I hope you have a nice weekend. Those cards really look awesome. I really appreciate you showing those off because I love to see them, and I apparently wouldn't have saw them otherwise. So yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna sign off. DM me if you think of anything else that you have questions about. But yeah, otherwise, bye.